First, no surprise here, the MVP is tall. At just over 6 feet 9 inches, about 2 inches taller than the average NBA player. But he's shrinking. 24 of the first 25 league MVPs were 6'9" or taller. 8 of the last 10 have been listed under 6'9". And the MVP has changed with the game. Centers have won the award 28 times, nearly as many as the other 4 positions combined, but rarely in the last 3 decades. There hasn't been a true center to win it since Shaq at the turn of the century. Further skewing the MVP's vertical profile, the fact the tallest MVP ever, 7'2" Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, won 6 times, more than anyone else, which places him 5 MVPs and 14 inches above the shortest recipient ever, 6 foot even Allen Iverson. The MVP is 28 years of age on average and in his 6th year in the league, although only one player, Larry Bird in 1985, was both of those when he won. The oldest, 35-year-old Karl Malone, and although Wes Unseld was the only rookie to win it, he wasn't the youngest. That was 22-year-old Derrick Rose. He more likely plays in the East than West, but just barely, and has a bit of a Boston accent. Starting with 5 of the first 9 winners, Boston has bred more MVPs, 10 overall, than any other team. He's likely playing for his first NBA franchise, although Moses Malone was on his second when he won it wearing a Rockets uniform in '82, and his third the next year in Philly, the only player to win MVPs back-to-back for different teams. The league's most valuable player puts up numbers. These numbers, in fact, averages most closely mimicked by Charles Barkley's 92-93 season. But the MVP isn't usually a scoring champ. On average, he ranks around 7th in that category. Unseld scored the award despite his pedestrian scoring numbers. He averaged under 14 points a night, making them the least offensive MVP of all time. And Kevin Durant was the first MVP since Iverson with a scoring title on his resume. The most prolific scorer to win it, Wilt Chamberlain, who averaged nearly 38 a game in the 59-60 season, in which he also averaged 27 rebounds a night, also the most by an MVP. Magic Johnson had the best assist season for an MVP, just under 13 when he won in '89. Of course, in order to show up in box scores, the MVP must first show up. He plays, on average, 97% of his team's games. The most notable exception, Bill Walton, who won his MVP despite missing nearly 30% of the Blazers' 77-78 season. Finally, the MVP wins, on average better than 72% of his regular season games, or just over 59 games in an 82-game season. Michael Jordan enjoyed the best regular season record of any MVP when his Bulls won a record 72 games in 95-96. The worst MVP season record-wise was also the first. Bob Pettit's Hawks were 6 games under 500 in 55-56. But at least Pettit's St. Louis squad reached the postseason. 20 years later, Kareem became the only MVP to play for a team that didn't. And while the MVP is a regular season award, most years the winner plays deep into the spring. 30 of them have reached the NBA Finals, while 22 went on to raise their profile even further above average with a championship.